everyone, this is Paul, and I would like to welcome to my channel, or in the case of if it's on her channel, I'd like to welcome myself to the channel of my sister.
Yippee!
You're probably wondering why is it that we always keep swapping around how we're related to each other, and that's because I discovered today that I was in a parallel universe. Because she woke up an hour before she was supposed to meet me, and I thought to myself, surely that means the multiverse is real. So in this new universe, it turns out that I have a sister, and my sister happens to have an Australian accent because she was sent to the future, and then her Australian parents took her out of the time capsule, and that's why we never knew each other.
You're very creative with these ideas, aren't you?
You're the one who decided to break the norm in the multiverse.
Wow, so my fault. I wanted to be awake.
Well, we do have a multiverse-ish game on here, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
Oh boy.
You guys know the drill so far. We like to talk about our thoughts on each major Nintendo Direct every time they come out. This particular one is about the September 2025 regular old Nintendo Direct. No stupid partnership showcases, no specific game-specific Direct. We're just doing the whole wide shebang. Anything you'd like to add before we continue?
I mean, yeah, I was kind of surprised they didn't show anything partner showcase like with other game companies like Sony and that, because, you know, they shoved their 2 cents in the last one, so I was kind of surprised they didn't do it again this time, but I guess they wanted Nintendo to be like, you know what, Nintendo, you guys should probably release some of your own games, because you only released like 4 things in that last Direct, so...
Well, they did mention Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which was originally a Sony exclusive, so I guess that kind of counts, but on that note, let's talk about the rules for our discussion, and that is that we are going to have a timer for each of the games we talk about, because in the past we've gone on, and we're going to give ourselves 10 minutes for one particular announcement that's a multi-game announcement, and 5 minutes for everything else. If we go a little bit ahead, don't kill us, we're in the multiverse.
We can't help it.
And we're also not going to talk about games that were already announced, that they just said, here's more information or here's a release date for, because that's just wasting too much time in a Direct that was already an hour and 6 minutes.
Yeah, I'm sorry guys, we can't talk about Tomodachi.
Yep, and the final rule is that we are only going to talk about games that interest us, or in one case that made us laugh out loud. So if there's a game that you like that we just did not mention it, then you can assume that neither of us liked it. But if one or both of us liked something, it'll be on here. So without further ado, is there anything catchy you want to say to spruce this up in this new timeline?
Well, considering the first thing we're talking about is a Mario thing, let's go.
So we are going to start out with the grand return of Charles Martinet. The man, the myth, the legend has returned to us in the combo pack of Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2, because Nintendo finally realized, shoot, we didn't put Galaxy 2 in 3D All-Stars. And then we proceeded to unlist that game. So let's do some damage control and charge $70 for it, because we added a couple of new storybook pages and called it a day.
Yeah.
Well, there's actually way more that's been revealed, but apparently it's only on the Japanese website, so we can definitely talk about that in due time. But for now, what are your initial impressions based on what they showed in the American Direct?
Well, I mean, considering that just before they showed, like, the Mario movie title, I was, like, thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, well, they have to show something Galaxy-related then, right? Because, like, first of all, happy birthday to Mario the other day. He turned 40 years old. I didn't even think we were there yet. But I want to point out that the 3D All-Stars game is completely useless now.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it's useless once Super Mario Sunshine gets put on Switch Online.
Yeah.
Because currently we're still waiting for that game, even though there is an Easter egg where you can hear Super Mario Sunshine sounds on the menu. So
Well,
I think that's
coming.
a way of
It's
saying...
coming onto the... It's coming, right? It's on its way.
Oh, it's coming. We just don't know when.
Yeah.
So hold on to your copies a little bit longer, guys.
Yeah. Once Mario Sunshine comes out, then you can throw it out. No, this was great. This was great.
As someone who almost exclusively rents games instead of buying them, this was an absolute steal, because you can buy the games individually on the eShop for $40 each, which is absolutely ludicrous. That's how much they're charging for Final Fantasy VII Remake, to put that into perspective. But if you get the bundle that has them both together, you have to pay $70, and that's just insane. And the reason why they're justifying it is that there's new content. And a lot of the new content, from what I can tell, is just quality of life stuff. Like, there's an assist mode where it, like, prevents you from falling into pits, and it recovers your health slowly when you stand still. You can tap amiibos, which is pretty darn bare bones as far as the content you get. It's like, oh, you'll get a 1-up mushroom, or oh, you'll get star bits. Like, woo, you charged extra money for that? And in the case of Galaxy 2, this is the first time it's ever been in HD, so I imagine that was a little bit of extra work to up-res the graphics and make sure it was up to snuff with modern performances.
Yeah.
So it's nice that people who do not want to keep wasting batteries on their Wii remotes and who didn't get 3D All-Stars have a chance to try these games out, and in the case of Galaxy 2, to try them for the first time. And again, they're keeping the same voice cast as the original, so that means we get to hear Charles Martinet again, which... Is it silly that that was the thing that excited me the most?
It's Charles Martinet! I'm like, yippee!
I kept saying that over and over again, because I feel like Nintendo did Charles dirty with the whole, like... I'm almost positive they forced him to step down, where... You look at any interview he's done, and he did not... He does not sound like the kind of guy who is tired of it. I think if Nintendo were to welcome him back, he'd do it for another 10 or 20 years. So it's nice that they're not completely disrespecting him and re-recording over his lines.
Yeah. I'm sure Kevin probably did that as well. If they did ask Kevin, I'm pretty sure he said, nah, keep the man himself.
Well, I think they just like Charles's public persona so much better, because like you see him in interviews, he's a ball of energy, and he's such a sweetheart. And I met him, so I know firsthand that he's really great to talk to, whereas Kevin hardly ever does interviews or in public things. So I think they're like, that's why we're going to make him the ambassador, because we can't count on Kevin being all bubbly like Charles can do.
He also has trouble voicing him, as we could clearly tell.
Yeah. It seems like it's gotten worse over time the more the conspiracies pop up. But we're not here to talk about conspiracies. The question I want to ask you is, you have Mario Galaxy 2, but you've refused to play it. So are you going to get this version of it, and then that'll be your excuse to be like, well, now that it's in HD, I'll play it?
Yeah, like, I'll play it now. The only reason... I have two. And I have it for the Wii, and, you know, I wanted to play it on stream, but it's a real struggle setting it all up, because I could do it through the Wii U. And that's just a pain to, like, plug that all in, and with my Wii U is slowly dying, so I just thought, you know what, it's gonna come to the Switch eventually, I'll just wait till then. So.
Yeah, I suppose that's fair. And, you know, they're retroactively adding in Rosalina's storybook into Galaxy 2, which was notorious for Miyamoto throwing a fit during that game's development, saying, we don't need no stinking story, just get to the point. And the irony is that during the announcement, Miyamoto himself said, over to you, Koizumi. And then Koizumi proceeds to be holding the book in his hands. And mind you, Yoshiaki Koizumi, that guy was the director of the original Mario Galaxy games. And he actually put Rosalina's storybook in secret because he knew that Miyamoto would object to it. And at first, Miyamoto was really happy, and it said it brought tears to his eyes. And then when Mario Galaxy 2 started being developed, he said, all right, Yoshi, we got to have a talk, and let's just not have any story. And now it seems like he's completely changed his mind, and maybe it's the Mario movie that did it. But whatever happens, Miyamoto finally redeemed himself in my eyes, at least for now. Which, that's saying a lot. I never thought I'd say that. But congratulations, Miyamoto, you've changed.
Maybe they'll put Rosalina's storybook in the movie.
Well, I hope so, because that was my biggest complaint about the original Mario movie. Not enough story. So I'm hoping that there will be some kind of time traveling thing, or maybe like one of Matt Pat's theories will be true. Like, I really hope they just lean into...
Peach is actually dead, and it's Rosalina's mum.
Well, I haven't watched the whole theory in a while, but it would... I know that they were planning on making Peach and Rosalina related during early development, but then scrapped it. So it's like, what if that's like the concept of the movie? That would be beyond cool. But again, I don't really like talking about movies and these things, so I think we're gonna move on. Unless, was there something that you didn't know about Galaxy 2 that you wanted me to spill the beans on so you can know what to expect?
I mean, I'm trying to get through this game spoiler-ish free. I know the boss fights, Bowser's fights, are exactly the same, apparently, which is kind of dumb.
They're not exactly the same. They're actually quite different. It's just that they repeat a lot.
Oh, fair enough.
I think that's what you're referring to.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm trying to keep as much spoiler-free as possible when it comes to Galaxy 2, but I'm excited when it comes out. In which it's coming out next month. What the heck?
And I just realized we only have 2 minutes left, and we haven't even talked about why we like the games. So,
because it's a goddamn masterpiece, that's why.
My profanity-free answer to that is that Galaxy 1 and 2, I personally prefer 2 overall. I think they both have some of the best level designs in video games. Like the way that they utilize gravity and things that don't make sense but are fun anyway. And the fact that, like, almost every level in the game has music that's performed by a full orchestra. Like, the Gusty Garden Galaxy is my favorite piece of music in any video game. Alrighty, so, next up, we have a game. I'm pretty sure this is only on mine, because she's not much of a sports person. Neither am I, but when Mario's involved, I kind of make some exceptions. We're going to talk about Mario Tennis Fever. It's a good thing they waited to release that until after COVID, because can you imagine a name like that coming out and like the first thing that's going to pop into people's minds is panic attacks?
Oh, no!
So that's probably why it took so long to develop and why people have complained that it seems like it's using Switch 1 assets.
Yeah, I reckon.
So what's new about this is that it has a gimmick called Fever Rackets, which basically means you select your own tennis racket, which was a thing in Mario Tennis Aces, but there was really no point to doing that because each one was objectively better than the next, and they didn't provide any unique benefits, whereas these ones are like, if you have enough fever, they got to change that name, you can make ice appear on the field. If you have this one, then you shoot balls, and it reminds me of the zaniness of Mario Power Tennis, because that game had the power shots, but each one was specific to the character, and it did some cool references too. Like Bowser Jr.'s had a Super Mario Sunshine reference, which I thought was cool, and I think they're just trying to equalize it so that any character can do any ability. There's also some new mini games, including one with the Wonder Flower, which I'm intrigued by that. And they have an adventure mode where the characters turn into babies, including baby Waluigi making his debut. So, I'm guessing you put up with me putting this on my list just because baby Waluigi's in there, right?
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the sports genre for Mario. I'm a little disappointed that it's another tennis one. I think they could have picked a one that they haven't done in a while. Like, I know people have been begging for a baseball or something like that, but you know,
can Switch Online.
I mean, yeah, but like a new one.
So the last Mario baseball game was on the 3DS, I think. It was called Mario Sports Superstars, and everyone hated that game. So I need to get their reputation back.
I guess, and I guess tennis is their most successful one. I guess, I don't know, but nice. Yeah, baby Waluigi looks absolutely hilarious.
It does look very nice, and I'm you know that I'm a sucker for games that have a structured story and something to work towards. That's why I have trouble with games like Animal Crossing. So the fact that they just flat out called it an adventure mode, that was a big draw for me. But this is going to be a bit of a bittersweet game because it's going to be the first game with the new voice cast. So that means we get a new Mario, a new Daisy, new Donkey Kong, and a new Peach, a new Toad. Like, everything's going to sound totally different than they did in Aces.
Yeah, I think Pauline's probably going to be the only one that's going to have the same voice.
That's assuming they didn't recast her after Donkey Kong Bonanza, which we still haven't had any confirmation about.
That's true.
So let us hope that Kenny James will be the first Mario actor, besides maybe Nate Bildorf, but all he does is that meow sounds for the Shy Guys, that can actually last more than 20 years. Oh, Kazumi Totaka, he still voiced Yoshi, so I guess my conspiracy theory is out the window. Because I was saying to my friend, I think Nintendo's rule for replacing voice actors is that every 20 years they say, okay, you've been voicing long enough. For Charles, they made an exception because he was Mario. But, like, Daisy was out after 20 years, Donkey Kong was out after 20 years, Peach was out after 18 years, so that 20-year mark is where Nintendo seems to really have an issue. But I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt if they all sound good.
Yeah.
So you have nothing else that you want to add? I mean, your avatar on the Switch 2 is the talking flower, so are you not going to be praising that the talking flower is the commentator?
I find it hilarious that he's the
He has a new voice
commentator.
too. That's only been 2 years.
Yeah, he has a new voice already. He's voiced by, what's his name?
Patrick Site?
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah. He's an amazing voice actor. I was like, what a pick!
Yeah? No, I agree, and I think he
Right.
did a good job of imitating Mick Winkert, but it's like, did Mick Winkert, like, only sign a one-off contract, and then when Nintendo was like, you're gonna appear in more games, he's like, I wasn't expecting to be in more games. Like, he lasted such a short time.
Yeah, I recognize him more in the anime world. He voices many anime characters. So hearing that he voices a tiny-ass flower is adorable.
He's been in a few video games I like, too, so I think we both like him, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
Speaking of Patrick, whatever his name is, voicing the talking flower, there's another game coming out where they are going to have an actor switch. Well, more specifically, an update to an existing game, and that is the wonderfully titled Super Mario Bros. Wonder Nintendo Switch 2 Edition Plus Meetup in Bella Bell Park. That's up there with the Bowser's Inside Story remake for being one of Nintendo's longest titles ever.
I know, it's catching up to Kingdom Hearts, I feel like.
So, this was a confusing announcement for me because when I was watching it, I could have sworn that was Patrick's voice. So I was like, are they going to just have different voice actors for the flowers depending on which part of the game is new? Or are they going to, like, re-record all the talking flowers voice lines in the main game so that it's consistent with the new actor?
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with that, but I feel like it'd be too much effort to just change all the voices they've already done. But I don't know.
Yeah, that would be weird. But they did that for Sonic X Shadow Generations. They re-recorded every single line of dialogue.
Yeah.
So Sega does what Nintendo don't, I guess. The other reason why I found that this was confusing is that they didn't do a good job of clarifying how much of the game is multiplayer centric versus how much can be done with the single player mode. Because it hinted at stuff like the Koopalings would be in it and that there might be new levels, but like a lot of it was saying like, do this in co-op, do this in Versus, and I was like, can I play against bots? Can I play online? They didn't really give any kind of clarity on that. Did you feel that, or am I just weird?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they plan on doing if we're gonna have the multiplayer stuff. Guess we'll find out.
Well, this was on both of our lists, but seeing as you're the one who has the talking flower avatar, I'll let you go first. What did you think about this announcement?
I mean, I love Wonder. It's one of my favorite Mario games. I absolutely adore it. Seeing that they were adding more stuff into it, I was like, whoa. Okay, sure. I guess I'll take more of it. This will probably be the first Nintendo Switch 2 edition I'll probably buy. So I'll try out this sort of stuff. I do want to point out though, did you notice, people have pointed this out, I think we'll be able to play as Rosalina in this one.
I didn't notice that when we were watching it, because, you know, everything goes by so quickly, you're not able to analyze it, but I did notice people pointing it out, and I was like, ooh, I like Rosalina, so that's cool. And it would also mean that if, hypothetically, you had a group of all girls, and they all wanted to be girls, they can finally do that, because in the base game, you could only be 3 female characters at a time, but now you can be 4, because you could have one as Peach, Daisy, Toadette, and now Rosalina.
Yeah, so I find that very interesting. I hope like that's confirmed that that Rosalina's going to be in it. Although knowing Nintendo, they'll see that we've noticed and they'll be like, "Oh no, remove it."
Well, as someone who only rented Mario Wonder, because it is the kind of game that is pretty light on replay value, I'm glad that Switch 2 editions have the ability to be rentable, because the extra content is already on the card. You don't need to download it.
Oh yeah.
I'm just happy that there's more Wonder Flowers and more opportunities to be surprised, because that was what I loved the most about the original game, was I just loved being like, oh wow, I never would have saw that coming. And I'm just excited to see more of that.
Speaking of the
and
flowers,
I'm
making
also
a toy of it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's so stupid.
I'm
but
buying
at the same
that.
time, you're no comment. I suppose it's about time Nintendo themselves made a toy like that, but you know they're going to overprice it like heck, and people are going to complain about it and moan and say this is so stupid, and then they'll buy it anyway.
I'm pretty sure
me,
they've
though. Not me.
pretty sure they've confirmed it's going to be like $70.
For a plant? You got a plant for free in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Remember that meme?
Oh, here we go.
Anyway, moving on before I get too angry. The last thing that they announced for Mario's 40th anniversary was a Yoshi game called Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. I love the way Nathaniel Bandy worded it. He said, we're getting a new game called Yoshi's Book. That's such an underwhelming title.
Did he actually say that? That's funny. I love that guy.
Something along those lines, yeah. And the gist of it is Yoshi is inside a book, which we've seen before in Yoshi's Story, but now it's running at a lower frame rate, which I found was weird, but apparently that's by design because it's an artistic choice.
Mm-hmm.
Because Yoshi's Story was one of only 2 games on the Nintendo 64 that actually ran at 60 frames per second. So at the time it came out, it was a technical marvel. So you have to have some pretty impressive technology to compete with that. And from what I saw in the trailer, it looked like it was actually slower than that Nintendo 64 game.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I love Yoshi's Woolly World. I didn't like Crafted World, but I feel like enough outrage was made about Woolly World that I think whoever's making this wants to have another try. And I'm willing to give them a shot, because I don't mind playing easy games. You know, I play Kirby games, and I find them to be pretty fun. So they didn't show much besides, like, you can make a Crazy Daisy ride on your back, because we listened to the feedback. When you played the Thousand Year Door remake, and that one Crazy Daisy just had really good AI and ambushed you from anywhere on the screen, we'll make it your friend this time.
Yeah.
If you know, you know. That's a Chapter 4 spoiler, so I won't say anything, but yeah, there's that one Crazy Daisy that just had such bad programming that in the remake they really toned it down. And I'm guessing that might have been the inspiration for this as well.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So what do you think about the game? Do you think it's cool that you have the power of dandelion puffs?
Oh my gosh, those poor dandelion puffs. they're beating up the poor flowers. I think they're the most powerful thing in the game, honestly.
Yeah, like, take on Ganondorf with the dandelion puff in the next Zelda game.
Yeah, let's do that. This is I played one Yoshi game, which was back in the day, was the older Yoshi Yoshi's Story. I love Yoshi's Story. It's one of my favorite Yoshi games. It's adorable. But I really liked the artistic choice they made. I was kind of mesmerized by it. Kind of surprised that Nintendo can make something that pretty.
Yeah, Yoshi games have typically, like, even at their worst, been like the graphical showstoppers. Like, as much as I cannot stand Crafted World, I feel like it is still so gorgeous that even some Switch 2 games don't look as good as that game did. And from an artistic perspective, like, obviously it might have more polygons, but, like, it might, like, the artistic direction doesn't feel as strong. You know what I'm trying to say there?
Yeah. I do point out that I think during the whole direct they showed of it, like, with the gameplay, we only saw the green Yoshi being played. I hope we can play as the others.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, in Woolly World, like, every single amiibo, except the Pokemon ones for some reason, let you have a different costume, and that included third parties. Like, you could have a Pac-Man Yoshi and a Sonic Yoshi, so I'm hoping that something similar is done with this.
Yeah.
Because that'd be cool if I could have a Banjo and Kazooie Yoshi.
Yeah. You just want a new Banjo-Kazooie game, just admit it.
There is a new Banjo-Kazooie game. It's called Yooka-Replayly, but it wasn't on this list. But it is coming October 9th, and you're definitely going to hear me talking about it on my channel at some point.
Oh boy.
But they didn't show too much, but from what they did show, it looks like it could be good. It could be bad, but I'm willing to give them a chance.
Yeah, I think it'll do well. Yoshi games are normally pretty good, so
yeah, as long as they're not Crafted World, Yoshi's Island, or Yoshi. I just named every Yoshi game except Woolly World. Okay, now I take it back. Woolly World was the only good Yoshi game.
You didn't like Yoshi's Story?
I used to like it, but then I played it again on Switch Online, and I'm like, man, this game is aged poorly. Except the frame rate. That still looks great, but, like, the controls are terrible, the level design is awful. Like, I don't know what I was thinking.
Fair enough.
But at least they fixed the glitch where, like, in the original game you had to push the control stick diagonally to make Yoshi run at full speed, and I think you can just press the control stick in any direction, so at least some progress was made.
Yeah.
So next up, I don't know what she was thinking when she made this list, but this next thing is a game that I don't even really remember much about. But she said, I gotta put it on there because I gotta show my love to the Aussie babies, and it's called Dinkum, which...
Yes. Dinkum.
I'm not even sure if I should be saying that, because, like, I feel like in America there's a swear word that's kind of like that, but at the top of my head I can't think of what it is. Don't say it. Don't say it.
I'm not gonna say it.
Case... But, what do you have to say about this game that is not profane and not inappropriate? I'm pretty sure when you emailed me you said, it's in Australia, so I got it. At it. So is there anything else about it that you like besides bias towards your homeland?
I mean, I found it so funny when they said when it was called Dinkum, because the word Dinkum comes with also when Aussies say fair dinkum. That's what we say, and it's normally used to emphasize or seek confirmation of truth, pretty much. Like if someone says something, we go fair dinkum, sort of thing. Yeah, I know.
So funny.
It's hilarious, but yeah, that's what we say. So, you know, I was watching it and I'm like, okay, this is cute. And then it said in the Australian outback, and I'm like, what? And then I proceeded to go, all right, you want to try and take on this? I got to judge this. And then I proceeded to see a kangaroo with antlers, and I was then very confused because I'm pretty sure kangaroos don't have antlers here. So
I think there might be a few that can. They're just called by different names.
I mean, maybe. I've just personally never seen one. So. But it looks adorable. I mean, it's a farming sim, so I always, if I see a cute farming sim game, I always give it a chance. But it just looks very derpy, and I have to give it a go. It looks great.
And my opinion of it is just, I don't think I would have remembered anything about it if it hadn't been for her saying, Australia!
Hey, we, us Aussies, are prone to the second we hear anything to do with Australia, our eyes just turn and go, hello?
Well, when the Mario movie took place in America, I wasn't like jumping up and down about it. I was like, okay, it's...
There's a lot of you, okay? What, the second we hear anything Australian, it's like, whoa, they like us.
Yeah. Well, I guess Australia can put out some good ones every now and then.
Yeah.
So, speaking of something that is not a good one, Nintendo did the announcement that was constantly perceived as an April Fool's joke, and for once they said, no, we're going all out, guys. They're bringing back the Virtual Boy. And mind you, neither of us actually care, because they're requiring, not suggesting, they're asking you to buy an accessory to play the Virtual Boy games that you are already paying $50 a year for, that they're not even going to release all at once. And mind you, the Virtual Boy only had 14 games that came out in North America, and they still can't put them all out at once. So, what on earth was going through your head when that came up?
I mean, you were there when it went through my head. I saw the shadow and was like, is that the Virtual Boy? And then they showed it and we just collectively died. You know, not just us. The whole world laughed their booties off. It was so funny. Just the fact that they were bringing in... They could have picked anything. You know, they could have added in, you know, the Wii, some DS stuff. Heck, they could have brought in, like, another dumb, I don't know, console that was just terrible. But they pulled out, I think, one of their worst failing consoles onto the Switch.
Well, actually, it is the worst failing console. It sold even less than the Wii U did. It was they only supported it for 6 months before they pulled support, and a grand total of 21 games were released for it altogether, but only 14 of them were in America. You wonder why the thing backfired. Because apparently they thought red and black graphics only, you're required to watch it in stereoscopic 3D, and you have to squint through these eyepieces. Oh yeah, this will fly off the shelves. And they haven't learned from their mistakes, because now they're doing it again.
Look, I'll give them this. It sounded good on paper, I'm sure. I'm sure it sounded great on paper. But when you bring that idea on paper to reality, there's a chance it might not do well.
Well, speaking of paper, the cheaper option to be able to play these, assuming you're not factoring in the cost of Switch Online, is you can pay $25 for cardboard. Or you can pay... I wish I was joking, but Nintendo truly has... They want you to pay $100 for a Virtual Boy replica. That's as much as they charge for that stupid clock. And that's more than what they charge for Tears. And mind you, we were saying this even before we started recording, is that that's about as much as they charged for the Virtual Boy back then, and the critics panned it for being too expensive. So can you imagine what nowadays' critics are going to say?
Knowing them, they'll probably say, yeah, this is a fair price because everything is so expensive nowadays.
Yeah, but those games aren't exactly known for being good. Like, you ask people who actually played the Virtual Boy, like, what games on it did you like? And pretty much the only one they'll say is Wario Land.
Okay, if you were Nintendo, how much would you price it at?
$10 maybe?
I'd bump it to maybe 20 or 30 maybe.
No, Nintendo's a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They don't need any more money. But considering what the Virtual Boy was, and like how much you're getting for it, you're only getting 14 games that aren't even that good and aren't even that long. You need to give people a reason to want to play them. Because if you're going to overcharge for something that was bad, they're going to assume that there's this seal of quality that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, the Virtual Boy was what gave us Mario Tennis, because that was on the Virtual Boy before it was on the N64.
Oh, well, thanks, Virtual Boy.
Yeah. But it wasn't until the Nintendo 64 that we got Waluigi, so... And that was one reason to get that one over the Virtual Boy version.
Oh, man. Well, I have a friend that is actually getting this replica.
Oh my
to try
goodness.
it out. I can't wait to hear the feedback.
Unfortunately, I don't have a camera, but you should have seen the facepalm I just did. So with that, this one I put a question mark on because, again, I am more of a renter than I am a buyer. I'm not sure what she put, but we thought that this could be a maybe. And that's that they're making another Suica game. Now, I haven't played the original because it is not rentable, but I have heard good things about it. And I do like puzzle games to an extent. Like, I love Tetris. I'm actually really good at Tetris. Like, if you and I were ever to face off, I'd probably clobber you.
Probably.
But this game looks like it'll be like testing my puzzle brain in a new way. But there's not much else to say about it. It's Suica game, but inspired by Super Mario Galaxy.
I mean, I've played it. I can throw my 2 cents in if you want.
Alright, go for it.
Alright, so the Suica game, or as I call it, the watermelon game, that's the English term for it, as well. Basically, I mean, yeah, it is kind of like Tetris. You match 2 fruits together, and they'll change to another fruit. Match those 2 fruits together, you'll get another fruit. You just keep going and going until you've got too much fruit, and it fills up to the top, it overflows, and then game over. That's how the original one was, but this one's turned it into a planet. And I'm pretty sure to memory of the announcement and everything that would match up, it'd like disappear and sink into the planet or something.
And if this was published by Nintendo, you can bet they'd probably charge $30 for the ability to play Super Mario Galaxy music in this.
Oh please, that'd be fantastic. I'm going to imagine it's probably going to cost just the exact same amount as the last one did. I'm pretty sure the last one was extremely cheap, so...
Well, if it's cheap, I still probably wouldn't buy it, because it's like, this is the kind of game that I feel like I could probably get like a couple of minutes enjoyment out of. And that's why I think like buying it would be too much of a ripoff. Like, I remember people were saying like, oh yeah, you should buy the Kirby DLC for Forgotten Land. And my response to that was, I beat it in 48 hours. Does that really scream $20? Whereas the Persona 3 Reload demo that they announced, which we're not going to talk about, I beat that in 5 hours, which I know doesn't sound like much, but for a demo, that's huge. So if a demo of a Persona game can give me more enjoyment than a full-priced, or than a full game, then you know something's wrong with the pricing system.
Yeah, I'm just shocked that this is getting another version, because I'm like, oh, okay, I mean, I knew it did really well. Like, when it came out, I saw heaps of Twitch streamers playing it, because it was something nice and chill to do while talking to your chat. So it just makes me laugh that they're doing another one. It's like, oh, okay, sure.
Well, just you wait until they do another version of Balatro, and then that takes over.
Oh, no, not Balatro.
I don't know what to make of this next one. This was 100, we'll make it 1,000% hers, because I was groaning and moaning and kept trying to talk over it when we were doing our reaction. I'm not even going to say the name of it because I'm so disgusted, so I'm just going to let you take over from here.
Alright. So, for those who have been here long enough know exactly what's about to come in, Paul was not going to get away with a whole direct discussion if Pokemon didn't have anything to say about it, which I will admit, I don't think they needed to spend, 15 minutes about Pokemon stuff? I mean, they've shown
3 different announcements for Pokemon games, one of which was for a $30 expansion pack, and never mind, continue.
Okay, so what they've decided to announce, was kind of surprising. At first, I thought this was a mystery dungeon game because mystery dungeon is known to be cube sort of style. But basically, Ditto has decided that they're going to turn to a human, and basically it's like Animal Crossing or Stardew, whatever. Basically, it's a farming sim where you play as a Ditto that's a human, and you can have Pokemon do a bunch of farming stuff. And the Pokemon talk to you, which is kind of funny. I doubt there's voice acting, but now we know what the Pokemon say to each other, so...
So I was originally under the impression that Game Freak were either incompetent or that they had unrealistic deadlines so they couldn't make the Pokemon games polished. And then Peggle came along and said, look at this game that's a PS5 exclusive, and it was made by Game Freak, and it had everything that I wished Pokemon had. It had voice acting, orchestral music, the graphics were utterly phenomenal, like jaw-droppingly phenomenal. And I was like, why don't the Pokemon games look like this? They sell way more. But I think it's because Game Freak is not given full creative control, and as a result, they were stifled by the Pokemon Company and or Nintendo. That is such a toxic relationship to have three companies all fighting for the same franchise.
Yeah, I showed it to him, and I was like, look, let me get this through people's heads that Game Freak is not at fault here. Look at this.
So I'm kind of more disgusted with the higher-ups now that she showed me that, because it's like, if these guys are capable of making this, then why does Pokemon look like that? Insert early Nintendo 64 game here.
I think one of the reasons is because Pokemon is technically a kids game, so they're trying to emphasize colors and graphics to kids. But, like...
Yeah, but there are other kids games that do that.
You can make a game look absolutely fantastic with graphics and still make it kids-like.
Pajama Sam. Those are two words that I can say. If you want a good, child-friendly game that doesn't have any inappropriate humor, has good graphics, it came out in like the 90s and still looks good, Pajama Sam. That is like the ultimate kids game.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I will say, in fairness to this, I do like that it's, a new take on something familiar. Pokemon is traditionally very stubborn with innovation. Like, they typically just will say, like, the next big thing in our game is this Pokemon is bigger. And it's like, yay, woo, whatever. But to be fair, I would play this over a Pokemon game. I wouldn't play this to begin with because I'm not a farming sim guy. I need more... Like I said, I need more structure. I need a story mode, and they didn't show any of that, but I think the fact that they're at least trying to be unique with the IP, and that you could likely make some really cool things with that system it's neat. If it were from a better development company, maybe I'd be more excited, but I can say it's neat, but held back by the higher-ups.
Yeah. You want to bring up the fact that they're doing a paid DLC for ZA without the game even being out yet?
Well, I'm going to have to keep this quick because we're running on our time limit, but I feel like in the past, Nintendo games have done that and no one cared because what they were offering was really insanely cool. Like, for example, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate announced that they were having a Fighter's Pass before the game came out. And people lost their absolute minds when Joker was announced. And I think they were so happy that Joker was like, this is what we can expect from DLC? This is like the standard. I think people were willing to gloss over that, and I haven't heard a single person bring up that hypocrisy there. Because it's like, if Smash can do it, why is Pokemon getting a bad reputation? And I think it's because Smash is this insanely polished, incredible crossover with amazing graphics, hundreds of music tracks, and so much fan service, and Pokemon looks like it's made by a small indie team with a crunch period. And I think that's why people are giving it more flack, because it's like, you're already charging $70 for something that probably Toby Fox could make on his own. And yet, no, that's an insult to Toby Fox. Deltarune is way better than that. And they want to charge even more money. With Smash, it's like the game is already complete, and the stuff that they're adding is a bonus, but they didn't even say what you're getting with this one. They just said it exists and called it a day.
Yeah.
So, yes, I see the outrage, but I also say you guys are hypocrites if you're okay if Smash did it, but not if Pokemon did it.
Yeah.
Like, at least be consistent. Just say, like, I hate it when some games do it, but if you're gonna put Joker in the DLC, then okay, I'll suspend my disbelief.
Yeah.
So then we have a game that both of us lost our minds over, because I don't think anyone on Earth would have predicted this. No one leaked it. Not that I pay attention to leaks, but I haven't seen any thumbnails talking about this. They're making a new Danganronpa game, sort of.
Yeah.
So they're remaking the second Danganronpa game, which is called Goodbye Despair, which to my understanding is the most popular game in the franchise.
Correct.
And they're like completely overhauling it with like there's more animations, because if there's one thing I hated about the Danganronpa games is that they kept using cardboard cutouts for the characters, and like they didn't like move around or gesture. And now it looks like they're going to fix that mistake. There's going to be like more dynamic camera angles. Like in the original game, it was this awkward mix of side-scrolling and first-person action, and it looks like they're going to like make the overworld where it's like from a top-down perspective, and then there's going to be like more first-person. So it's like, okay, now it looks like a game that wasn't just strung together by a low-budget team. It looks like they're actually putting effort into it now. But that's not even the coolest part about it. It's called Danganronpa 2x2, and the reason for that is that they're remaking the second game, but then they're also remaking the second game. And this is where it's wild. They're actually doing an all-new story with the same characters. So like there's going to be new victims, new murderers, and the actual murders themselves are going to be different. And from what I can tell, they're even going to show like parts of the island that you didn't see in the original game, because they showed a scene of like Hajime and Nagito looking out at some cottage. And that to me is huge, because you want to know how many Danganronpa fan games there are that try to do the exact same thing?
Yeah.
But here's what, and we were talking about this a little bit before we hit record, because we didn't want to do too many spoilers, but Chapter 3 of Danganronpa 2 is widely considered one of the worst chapters in the entire franchise. And we don't want to say what happened, but I will say that behind the scenes, the development team came to a decision at the last minute that their plan was disrespectful to the storyline, which is saying something considering what they did to Killing Harmony. But they said, yeah, that probably wouldn't be a good idea with what we've already established. So at the last minute, they completely shifted gears, and you could tell that it was it was about as rushed as Super Mario Sunshine was.
Okay, so are you telling me that when it comes to that chapter 3, that the Blackened possibly was not supposed to be the Blackened? It was probably supposed to be someone else.
It was actually the victim that was supposed to be someone else.
I think I know which one you're talking about, and yeah, I agree.
And anyway, I'm thinking that this is their way of saying we apologize for our blunder, and now we're going to actually think before we make a game.
Yeah.
Because the early Danganronpa games were on a very, very, very low budget. Like, they were on the PSP, so they already had to constrain their work to begin with. And then you could really tell there was a lot of cost-cutting measures. Like, they were so determined to have the character cutouts that, like, when you faded to behind them, it would just be a dark black instead of, like, actually drawing the character's backside. Like, so it looks like this is finally their way of saying, like, okay, now we have the budget. We're putting it on Switch 1 and 2, so people who haven't upgraded can still play it. And people who have already played it, who don't like just buying another remake, can get essentially an all-new game.
Yep.
And for those of you that didn't like 100 Line Last Defense Academy and just wish Kodaku would make more Danganronpa, it's like, here's your wish.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'll throw my 2 cents in. I love Goodbye Despair. It's my opinion, the best one. I think a lot of people have that opinion. And see, my highlight is that the first person they showed in full animation was Gundam. Like, thank you for putting that in by Chinsoft. I really appreciate it. Makes my day. My only issue is that I don't know if they're going to do it all the time, because I noticed that during the class trial that there was no animation during that. They still had that cardboard sort of movement where they'll have one pose and then they'll do another pose. So I don't think it's going to be all the time. I think it might be just when you're outside, not during the class trials, but we'll find out. Yeah, the additional story is really interesting because they said like one thing that you screw up and it'll all come clashing with that. So I find it very interesting.
So they ended the direct with a game that a lot of people were underwhelmed by, but yours truly was beyond ecstatic about it. I didn't show it very much during the presentation because I'm not the type of person that's like, yes, this is so cool, except when they revealed Banjo. Then I was jumping all over the house and running all over the place. But generally speaking, she's the one that's loud and I'm the one that's like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. But with this one, inwardly, I was screaming because I love Fire Emblem. I love nearly every game in the franchise. Even some of my least favorite games in there, I still love. And I was one of the only people in the world that was excited for Byleth being in Smash Brothers. I was like, oh my gosh, I love Three Houses so much, and it's going to be great that there's going to be so much music in it. But at the same time, there's this lingering feeling like the internet is going to hate this, aren't they? And I was right. But I think Nintendo realized, like, you know what? This Paul guy, I think we need to appeal to him, because for one, they sued a game that's called Paul World. And two, they decided to repeat history. They ended the Fighter's Pass with Byleth, and I loved it. And now they're ending the Direct with Three Houses, or with Fire Emblem, and I love it. Because they're like, Paul's enthusiasm is more than enough for us, because we know he's going to talk about it on his channel, and he's going to make the only, like, glowing review of it. And it's in the Three Houses universe.
Yeah.
So, whether it's a prequel or a sequel is currently uncertain. I'm leaning toward prequel at the moment, because Three Houses has 5 different endings, and that would be insane if they tried to make them all relevant.
Yeah.
Then again, 100 Line Last Defense Academy has 100 endings, so who am I kidding? But Three Houses makes the case that any of their 5 endings could be canon, whereas there's some in 100 Line where it's like, yeah, they just put that in there because they had to have 100.
Yeah.
But I surprisingly don't have too many thoughts about this, despite me being such a huge fan, because they didn't really show a whole lot that was like brand new to the series, that was like, this is the game's hook. Like the Gambit mechanic where they showed the armies running at people, they already did that in Three Houses. They showed the guy running around in the open world, they did that in Three Houses too. They showed someone riding a chariot, that was new, but it's like, I don't know what that has to do with gameplay though. The only thing that made me genuinely be like, oh wow, this is why I have high hopes for it. There were 2 things actually. Sothis being in there is like, okay, so it's going to be in the Three Houses world. And then like the dialogue, I wasn't paying too much attention to what the characters said because I didn't want to be spoiled, but the way that the characters were talking sounded a lot more serious and a lot more like how Radiant Dawn was. And I loved Radiant Dawn so much because I loved how it told a very serious, very politically driven story. Not politics the way nowadays does it. I mean like nations going to war over clashing ideologies. Actually, that is how people do it nowadays. But anyway, it seems like it's going to actually take itself seriously rather than over-relying on a bunch of anime nonsense. And I am so happy that they finally learned their lesson.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say about this as someone who's not the biggest Fire Emblem fan, but you're probably going to be bombarded by it by people like me for the next several years?
I know a few people that are excited for this, but I think it's my opinion on this is that I kind of wish that they didn't, I don't know, put this at the end, because as I'm sure a lot of people probably had this sort of feeling, I think it was a little bit underwhelming to have it at the end, as I expected something, a game that was probably bigger, I guess. I probably would have been fine if this was the first thing they showed after the Mario stuff, or it was halfway through. I didn't mind, but like, I'm happy for the Fire Emblem fans, sure. Like, it looks cute. I kind of figured it out pretty quickly that it was Fire Emblem based on the graphics and the gameplay, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't think it needed to be at the end. It probably could have been better sitting somewhere else.
I guess, like, I can see your point from the perspective of an outsider, and I guess, like, for me personally, if I could think of another game that would have been better at the end, I probably would have said the Danganronpa one.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I think Nintendo lately has been using their One More Thing as a way of telling the audience that some of these lesser known franchises, people should give them more of a chance. Like Fire Emblem, the thing that you guys have to remember about that is that Fire Emblem was on the brink of being canceled after the release of Radiant Dawn, because that game was phenomenal, but it sold horribly, and part of that was due to the fact that it released the same week as Super Mario Galaxy. That was a smart move.
Yeah.
And Nintendo was just like, okay, they said to the team making Awakening, if you don't make a game that sells this many units, we're going to discontinue the whole series. And it became the best-selling game of the franchise. And then they got cocky and they made Fates, thinking like, oh, people just love all the anime stuff and they want to see the female body sexualized like heck, and that's what they like about Fire Emblem. And then they got pushed back for that, so then they made Echoes, which was more traditional fantasy, and then that got pushed back, so then they made Three Houses, where it was like kind of the middle ground. And then that was a huge success. So what did Nintendo do after that? They went in completely the opposite direction and made Engage full of a bunch of anime nonsense. And then when that didn't sell as well as Three Houses, they said, oh, how are we going to recapture the success of Three Houses again? I know! Just make another game in the Three Houses universe. But I do agree that, like, I think if it had been something like 2007, this would have been the worst thing to end a direct on, because people just didn't give a darn about Fire Emblem. But now it's proven to be quite the juggernaut in sales. Like, I think Three Houses was like one of the top 10 or 15 best-selling games on the Switch, so a lot of people really liked it.
Yeah.
It's just that I think, if I'm understanding your perspective correctly, a tactics-heavy game where people are dying and it's all war and traditional politics, that doesn't have as much of a mass appeal as a guy who knows how to jump a lot.
Yeah.
Boy, my allergies are acting up, so I think we should probably wrap this up. So overall, the Direct itself, what did you think of the overall presentation?
It's pretty good. I think people have asked me what I rank it. I give like a 7.5 out of 10, and in the school ranking, I gave it a B. So, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty game.
Well, I was home.
I put it on the Switch for once, so.
Yeah, I think it was nice that they had a couple of games on the Switch 1. So, and there was a rumor that there would be one more 3D Mario game on the Switch 1, and that rumor turned out to be true. So, that is an interesting twist. I was like, oh, you guys got to be out of your mind. But no, we're getting another 3D Mario on the Switch this year. I also thought that,
We do need a 3D Mario game.
well, that same team made Donkey Kong Bonanza, so they might need to take a bit of a break.
We'll give them a break, and then we can start complaining after a year or two. I mean, they did pull that DLC for Donkey Kong Bonanza that was like $20.
Oh, yeah. The reason why we didn't talk about that was because I was so disgusted by it that I said I wasn't going to buy it.
All I've heard from people that it's pretty good and it's apparently a roguelike.
Not enough for $20, because people, and I agree with the comparison, like, look at Deltarune. That game costs $25, and for only $5 more, I feel like you get so much more value. Alright, and you want to say something closing that's super catchy and inspirational?
Have fun with the Mario stuff, I guess. That's gonna be a fun time.
Yup. Alright, have a good one, guys.
Alright, geez, bye bye.